Khamzat Chimaev took shots at Belal Muhammad last night. He posted a photo of a pony on X. He wrote, "Bully B, where are you going, pony?" with laughing crying emojis. Belal responded with this photo of himself, wearing a shirt with him and Khamzat facing off on it. He wrote, "Go into middleweight." Belal is set to defend his welterweight title against Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315. He says he'll break JDM within 3 rounds.
He'll break in 3.
Fight announcements. Michael Chiesa is set to face Court McGee at UFC Atlanta on June 14th. Chiesa enters the bout on a 2-fight winning streak, most recently securing a 3rd-round rear naked choke submission victory over Max Griffin in December. Court McGee returns to action following a 1st-round submission win over Tim Means in October. Jordan Levitt is set to take on Kurt Holobaugh at UFC Vegas 107 on May 31st. Levitt is looking to rebound from a 1st-round submission loss to Chase Hooper in November of 2023. Holobaugh is also aiming to get back in the win column after a unanimous decision loss to Alexander Hernandez in March. In other news, Gavin Tucker has withdrawn from his scheduled bout against Jung Young Lee at UFC 315. Lee will now face Daniel Santos, who steps in on short notice. Lee is coming off a 1st-round TKO loss to Haider Emil last July. Santos, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, returns after a lengthy layoff, with his most recent victory coming against Johnny Munoz by unanimous decision in June of 2023. Daniel Cormier gives his take on Anthony Smith getting into an altercation with a fan after his TKO loss to Zhang Mingyang. Smith later revealed that the fan had been talking trash even before the fight, which caught him off guard, especially since the man was wearing a Nebraska t-shirt, Smith's home state. DC says that it's not always great fighting in your hometown, because sometimes they're the ones that want to see you fall.
Look, man, everybody wants to fight at home, but it's not always the best. Think about this. The guys that have fought at home, in a retirement fight, how's it gone? We saw it last week with Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith got the fight in Kansas City, in the Midwest, where he made a career for himself. Not only did he get his butt kicked, he got into a fight with a fan after losing like that. He's supposed to be home. He's supposed to be showered with love and praise. He got into a fight with a fan afterwards because nobody likes a person falling more than the people that may come from the same situation as them. So when Anthony Smith is going through that, when Anthony Smith is losing his fight and that guy's like heckling him and making fun of him, so seeing him fail, it almost like uplifts that person. That's one case. Didn't work. It didn't work. You don't always want to fight at home. That's not the only one. There was one that I talked about very recently when I was thinking about the Anthony fight, about a guy that was trying to retire at home. Korean Zombie. That's what I was talking about. Korean Zombie was supposed to retire at home. Against who? Max Holloway in Korea. Gets starched. It's not always good because so much comes with fighting at home. More ticket requests, more people that want to be around you, more hanger-ons. So that friend of the friend that normally is afar because he can't get to Vegas, he can't get to New York, he can't get to California, is there now because it's only a drive. It's not a flight.
Stephen Thompson called out Carlos Prates for his next fight. Wonderboy is currently coming off a 3rd-round KO loss to Joaquin Buckley in October. In an interview with SiriusXM, he went on to say 2 strikers. It will be a striking extravaganza. Me and Prates, we want the fight to stay standing. We want to see who the best striker is in the UFC. I think that would be an amazing fight. Who do you guys think wins between Wonderboy and Carlos Prates? Post your opinions in the comments. Sean Brady is confused who's getting the next welterweight title shot. Belal Muhammad is scheduled to defend the belt against Jack Della Maddalena next month at UFC 315. Despite being ranked number 1 in the division, Brady says he's actually willing to fight again before fighting for the title.
I think people will forget how good Kamaru is, you know. But Buckley's on a great run, you know what I'm saying?
He's creating his own wave.
It's just crazy now because, like, whoever wins that fight is going to say that they deserve a title shot. I'm like, I'm number 1. I get a title shot. You got Ian Garry saying he gets a title shot. You got Shavkat thinking he's getting a title shot. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple.
Is that bothering you at all, or I'm not even?
No, if I have to fight for the belt, like I've been saying, I don't care.
You don't care, right?
Reinier de Ridder gives his thoughts on the upcoming middleweight title fight between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. The fight is not yet official. However, Dricus' coach recently stated that it was basically a done deal, and they're waiting for the UFC to send the contract. Reinier de Ridder has trained with both Dricus and Khamzat in the past, and gives his perspective on who he believes has the edge. In an interview with MMA Junkie, he went on to say, "I've trained a bit with both of those guys, and it's an interesting matchup. It's a good one, but looking at the way Dricus has been fighting guys, the way Dricus has been finishing guys over the last couple of years, and if you look at Khamzat's fights, I think this must be in Dricus' favor. He's a motherfucker with everything he throws. He's very, very game. He keeps going for 5 rounds, and I don't see Khamzat getting him out of there quickly. I don't see Khamzat shooting, getting back to his feet right away like he did in the last one. I might be wrong, but I feel Dricus should have the better odds in this one." Michael Bisping gives his thoughts on the upcoming trilogy between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway at UFC 318. He pointed out that when they first faced off, Poirier was 23 and Holloway was just 19, which gave Dustin the edge back then. But now the roles are reversed. Dustin is 36 and Max is 33, making Max the younger, fresher fighter this time around.
New Orleans, Dustin's backyard for the BMF belt. It's a rematch. Max Holloway Dustin Poirier won the first 2. Shot of redemption for Max Holloway. But caveats here. Max Holloway made his UFC debut against Dustin Poirier. I think he was about 20 years old. Dustin Poirier was 23, 24. He'd grown into his body. He had the man strength. He had a bit more experience in the organization, more experience overall. And of course, Max Holloway paid the price. He lost via armbar in the first round. Then they rematched years later for the interim belt, have a much closer fight, but Dustin Poirier wins again by a decision. This time now, Dustin's last fight in his hometown. Dustin's at the end of his career, wear and tear, losses accrue, confidence issues perhaps. I'm not saying he does have that, but we're just fighters, we're human beings. Few surgeries along the way, wear and tear, as I say, and Max Holloway is the younger, fresher guy. So the advantage that Dustin had was that he was older and stronger. Now that same advantage becomes the disadvantage. It's a crazy world we live in.
Yeah, and I think that's why it makes so much sense for those two. And I mean, Dustin was really clear that legends only is the only people that he wanted to be fighting. He mentioned on one interview, or maybe when he was on the desk for one of the recent pay-per-views, saying that he was also willing to do Justin Gaethje and get that fight back. But when they brought him, they said, no, it's Max Holloway. He said, well, I can't argue with that. I said, legends only, and it's a guy that he's got a history with. It would be Max's first fight in the UFC against Dustin, and it gets to be Dustin's last fight in the organization. And congratulations, I think Christine just sent me something that his wife had posted. I think they're having another baby.
Brandon Moreno believes he is likely facing his final UFC title run. At 31 years old, he is currently on a 2-fight winning streak, most recently defeating Steve Erceg via unanimous decision last month. Moreno has lost to the current flyweight champion Alessandro Pantoja 3 times, once on The Ultimate Fighter and twice in the UFC. He says if he were to lose to Pantoja again, it would put him in a very bad spot. He went on to say, I want to be 100% ready and do everything well, because I see this, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I see this as my last title chance. I want the fight to be perfect. Being very honest with you, I've officially lost twice against the current champion, and if I were to lose a third, I'd be in a very bad spot. So that's why I want the title opportunity to be almost perfect. I remember when I was the backup for the fight between Royval and Pantoja. I was told 2 weeks before the fight and I accepted it. I lost like 25 pounds in one go. I don't know if there are fighters that have the ability to recover from that. It was my first time doing something like that, but the truth is that I didn't recover well. Thankfully, I wasn't needed to fight the following day, because on Saturday morning, I still felt bad. I lost too much weight. I hope that the opportunity is free of all that. Man, I'm telling you this with all the confidence in the world. I don't know what's happening to me, or if someone did some sort of enchantment, but I just feel incredible. I feel really good. I talked a little about it for the fight week in Mexico, but I really am making all the little connections of my experience. I just see fights differently, whether I wanted it or not, and even when I won, I felt a little held down by my mind, and I'd get nervous. Not this time around. I feel really good and I just feel very different. The current mindset that I have right now gives me a lot of confidence. After UFC Kansas City, Dana White announced that Ian Garry will be the backup fighter for next month's welterweight title fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena. Ray Longo says he can't believe that Ian will be the backup, considering he just went 5 rounds with Carlos Prates. Despite the fact that Ian won by unanimous decision, he almost got finished in the last round. The day after the fight, Ian posted these photos to his Instagram, showing the damage he received.
Kind of a log jam at welterweight a little bit, right? You have Belal Muhammad, who's a willing champion who will fight every 3 months, but he's got Jack Della Maddalena. You got Shavkat Rakhmonov. I guess thankfully he doesn't have an interim championship. He's the number 2 ranked contender. The number 1 ranked contender is Sean Brady, and now you have Ian Machado Garry weighing in as the backup.
Oh wait, is Ian Garry actually weighing in as the backup?
1,000%.
Yes. Oh my God! I thought that was a joke.
Oh no, guaranteed.
I don't. The athletic commission's not going to let him. After that, they have to suspend him for a week or 2. And there's no way they're letting him.
Oh, there are ways around that, Raymond. You've been in the fight game a long time, no?
But Montreal's pretty strict, I think. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
There's ways around everything. But I thought that was a joke. Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey, hats off to him, man. Power to him. I like him for that.
Rampage Jackson responds to Ilia Topuria praising him on his recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. Rampage says he's been watching Topuria's striking combinations and that he had planned to incorporate some of those techniques in his upcoming boxing match against Rashad Evans, a bout that has since been canceled.
This is for you, Rampage.
Because people would watch him and go, "Jeez."
Yeah, that timeline of MMA was so fun.
It was
with
fun.
Rampage Jackson also.
Oh yeah, and when Rampage KO'd him, he became the man.
So they talk about the glory and UFC, the golden age, and different times in Ilia Topuria. You were one of his favorite fighters to watch.
That's cool. That do make me excited because I watched this kid fight and he has some great hands. I've seen some of his combos and now I'm watching his combos and I was planning on doing that to Rashad Evans.
Alex Bejeda posted some new sparring footage, and many people were impressed with his head movement. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. UFC middleweight Sedriques Dumas was arrested a few days ago. He is facing multiple charges including home invasion without a firearm or weapon, felony battery charges, possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon, possession of drug equipment, and possession of drug/controlled substance without a prescription. He is currently in custody and being held on a $558,500 bond. This is not the first time Dumas has gotten into trouble with the law. He's been arrested 15 times since 2014. Dumas last competed at UFC 314, where he lost to Mihailo Lesejchuk via TKO in the first round. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Tom Aspinall officially becoming the longest reigning interim champion in UFC history, and George St. Pierre advising Tom that he should focus on the next thing. The first one's from the Green Ghost 986. It says Aspinall has already handily beaten the number 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 ranked heavyweights, won and defended the interim championship. He's already cleaned out his division more thoroughly than any other active UFC champion. What does GSP mean to focus on what's next, when Jones versus Aspinall is clearly what is next? There is really nowhere else for him to go, and he shouldn't be expected to fight down to defend his interim belt for a second time. Can't believe this is even a debate. I'm not even criticizing Jones here, and I get his perspective too, but people acting like Aspinall is out of line for pushing for this fight are just haters. The second one's from No Mud No Lotus. It says if a guy waits for you after school to fight each day, and you start to deliberately take a different route home just to avoid him, everyone knows exactly why. And the final one's from Philip. It says there should be a rule that if you're the champ and not actually hurt, you have to defend the title within 9 months, period. It just holds up a whole division if you don't. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.